Thanks for staying with us here on Sunrise. If you're just joining us, thanks for coming along. Well, our guest closed her natural hair spa 7 years ago, and since 2020, she has been an assistant professor in the School of Business and Management at the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, where she lectures and researches in areas including entrepreneurship, macroeconomics, and research methods.
So her most recent venture it started actually in 2023. It's called VRJ Education Consultants, where she works with other specialists in education, offering services from basic school to the doctoral level. Joining us this morning to tell us about her journey is Dr. Veronica Reid Johnson. Good morning. Welcome to Sunrise.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
Let us actually jump to where we started, which is in the hair industry, the natural hair industry.
Yes.
Tell us about why you even went in that direction.
Well, I cannot do hair, so that's the first thing.
Okay.
But my education is in business, so I spent 12 years in university studying business, and I wanted to start a business. And so I started from my pain point because I'm a marketer. So you're looking for a gap in the market and where the pain point is. As someone with locks, I noticed that there were not a lot of salons dedicated to locks and natural hair. And so that's where I started. So I had to get a team, because my skill was in the management and the marketing side, and I needed to get persons to do the actual hair care.
Got you. But isn't the whole point of this thing, they always say, you know, for the person with the vision, it's to see where there is that gap and to try and fill that gap and bridge the gap.
Yes.
But you said that you were really business and marketing. So carry us now from the salon to where you are today.
Well, I did the salon. I had my salon for a good about 7 years. So it's closed about 7 years now, but I had it for a good 7 years, and we did natural hair and nails for that time. But my background, as I said, in terms of business, but a lot of education.
Right.
I've been involved in academia from I did my master's. So it's 20 years now since I did my master's. I heard you talking about yours earlier.
Yeah.
And so I finished my master's, and I've just been teaching persons, but more one-on-one. So taking other persons through the journey. And when I did my doctoral program, that was the same thing, learning more about research and how to get other persons through the process. So in this business venture, I'm drawing on not only my business background, but also my education background. Yes.
And I think that's so important, because so many people, the challenge of finishing postgraduate studies is really not in the capacity, not in the understanding, but in the process. And so it is so difficult to finish. And, you know, what have you learned along the way about why people fall by the wayside?
There are both practical reasons. So when I did my master's, I was the second person that graduated out of a small batch of 13 persons. And I graduated in 3 years when you were supposed to finish in 18 months. But most of the persons were working.
Right.
So when we did the courses, everybody put in the time to do the courses. But once you're on your own to slot out the time and dedicate the time to complete the research, people don't find the time. So there are a lot of practical reasons, but it does have a psychological effect. And people think that something must be wrong why they are not finishing. And so those things are combined to stretch it out and make it harder, especially if you do not have adequate supervision.
Because life sometimes just be life in.
Yes.
Because the thing is, postgraduate studies happens right when you are adulting. So life is lifing while you're adulting. And what it requires to do your thesis research and to, you know, get into, because what you're presenting is technically almost like it's a book, right? You're doing your research, you're doing a dissertation. A lot of people don't complete, but you have a service to say, no, we can guide you from start to finish. We can help you get this done.
Definitely. About half of people who do graduate studies don't complete. And it's usually not that they're not doing the courses. They've completed all the courses, have gotten good grades, and they can't get over the hump of the thesis.
How do they use your services? For
well, in terms of coming to us, we do a consultation first, because it is a process that is unique to you and your supervisor. And so we have to do a consultation to see where you are in the process and where you need us to guide you. The thing is, over 20 years, I've gone through the process multiple times. So once I meet with someone for half an hour, that gives me enough time to position that person and see what they need next.
How do you navigate, for instance, the challenge of guiding the person along based off of all of that you've learned over the last 20 years versus them and their individual supervisor who is telling them so you're because you have to be guiding them to satisfy their supervisor.
Oh yes.
Because you look at this, you can't tell, okay, well, the supervisor tell you are foolish. You can't say that. So
can you?
Most of the times, that is not the problem. You know, most of the times, and I can speak also being a lecturer where I supervise students as well. Your supervisor has a finite amount of time to deal with you. And especially they have multiple students or they have multiple groups of students. And sometimes students don't want to look a certain way in front of their supervisor. So certain questions they're not going to ask the supervisor. And the supervisor say, understand, yeah man. And they leave it right
means
there.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, so it's a different relationship than the supervision relationship. But yes, we have to be guided by what the supervisor is looking for, especially at the master's level. Your supervisor marks your work. So you have to make sure that you're meeting their guidelines.
You do have a seminar coming up. Give us those details.
So we have a seminar coming up this Saturday, which is focused on research students, postgraduate research students, especially master's students, because it is a more delimited process, and we do think that persons who are already starting can complete in 30 days. And that is what we are offering for persons to come. Let us take you through the process and show how you can complete in 30 days.
And I saw on the screen there, it's $70. That's very
$70
nominal.
US. It is our introductory cost. When it comes down to summer, where more students need the work, we usually do it at $100 US. So early on in the term, for those students who are proactive and who want to start early, then we do it basically like an early bird special.
Sounds great. Yes. Sounds great. You guys need to jump on this one, especially if you've been struggling through getting your thesis done. Thank you very much, Dr. Veronica Reid Johnson, Assistant Professor in the School of Business and Management at the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean. Coming up next, Yendi is going to hit the runway yet again. What? You don't want to miss that.
You better work. Work it, girl.
Stay with us.
Hey, you're laughing up.